ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor and introduce our most eminent speakers and my friend Sam Pitroda is the first speaker. Sam is an internationally respected development thinker and policy maker, inventor and entrepreneur who has spent 55 years in telecom and IT. And he created the telecom revolution in India. We could not get a telephone in 10 years, but he brought telephone to every nook and corner of the country. He worked with Rajiv Gandhi and Dr. Manmohan Singh and was chairman of the Knowledge Commission and brought about so many changes I cannot count. It is my great honor and it is my privilege to introduce my friend, the great man, Sam Pitroda.
Thank you, Puran. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings from Chicago. It is indeed a special privilege and honor for me to be with you all today. One, to celebrate my friend Partha Ghosh's birthday, and also to celebrate his new book. His book outlines a path forward for India's future. The key in the book is to really reset India. Partha has spent his working life thinking about India. He and I got connected 30, 40 years ago. And ever since I have known him, I have always admired his commitment to India, future, management, leadership, and the drive he has to constantly keep his focus intact on some of these issues. His book outlines many different important issues, but to me, in order for India to move forward, first we need to realize that world is at crossroads today. India is also at crossroads. You see what is happening in Ukraine is an example of the conflict and confusion going on in the world. Polarized politics has really divided the world in multiple ways. Today, focus is more on power and profit and less on people and planet. When the real challenge today is sustainability and inclusion. On one hand, we have huge potential because of hyperconnectivity, which provides democratization of knowledge, decentralization of decision-making, demonetization of services. It is a combination of a whole lot of technologies related to AI, machine learning, robotics, cryptos, Web3, cloud computing, and all of that. The key is, how do we use these technologies to take humanity to the next level? Unfortunately, today we are focused on economics as the main goal for development. I find that the real need today, especially in India, is to get back on track, to really focus on the idea of India that our founding fathers had outlined. Idea of India that is fairly well articulated in our constitution. Today, I'm worried because institutions are captured. I'm worried that civil society has no role to play. Scientific mindset doesn't exist. We have no clarity on energy security. And polarized politics has really created fear in the minds of large number of people that we will not have peace in the long run. If there is no peace, there is no prosperity. So the real challenge today is to strengthen India's democracy, focus on human rights, free up our media, focus on justice, equality, autonomy, flexibility of our institutions. I am very concerned about what is going on in India. No amount of great thinking on economy will get us anywhere if we create an environment of fear, frustration, and fights. India needs to get back on track. And you are divided today in India, where one group of people very strongly believe that Hindu Rashtra will solve all our problems, where large number of people still believe in the idea of India embedded in our constitution. And that is the real challenge today. No amount of thinking, no amount of new ideas on economy, prosperity would get too far if we don't really provide the right kind of foundation. At the same time, we need focus on the wisdom of our ancestors who believed in rural development, local talent, respect for local soil, respect for artisan, respect for the wisdom of the ancient civilization. We need decentralization. We need district level development. And Partha talks about many of these issues. But none of these are possible without the right kind of institutional infrastructure at national, state, and district level. I am very concerned because I know the potential we have today in Indian talent. My friend Puran Dan talked about it. IITians, most of you all, have made a huge difference, not only in India, but all over the world. Several years ago, I was in Singapore, and I was told that there are 5,000 professionals from IIT and IIM who basically run Singapore. There was a time then someone reminded me that there is a conference tomorrow where 2,000 people from IITs and IIMs came together under one platform. Look at the power of this talent. Not only in Singapore, but in US, Europe, Australia. Indians are everywhere. When I started my work in India, we had 2 million phones. Today, we have 1.5 billion phones, and we generate $200 billion worth of software export every year, year after year. We have almost $700 billion worth of foreign exchange reserve. We have come a long way in the last 70 years. But we are stuck today. If we don't really focus on fundamentals, I think no amount of great ideas from great people like Partha will give us the foundation we need to build on. So my appeal to all our friends would be to really understand where India is today and what kind of India we want to build. And that's where the challenge lies. With this, I want to once again thank Partha and Puran Dang for giving me this opportunity. I hope we have a broader conversation on this. I've been very forthright because I'm very concerned about India. And with this, once again, thank you, everybody.
And now, my dear friends, I want to introduce to you Honorable Suresh Prabhu, a lifelong parliamentarian and Union Minister of Energy, Railways, Climate, and many more, and Chancellor of Rishi Hood University in near Delhi. All his life, he has served India, and he has taken part in so many departments and so many matters, and internationally, he is known as G5, G7, and G20 Sherpa. And his knowledge about India is Himalayan. There is nothing that he doesn't know about India, and today it is our forum where we want to listen to his words of wisdom. I'm sorry he is not feeling very well today, but still he said he will like to speak to you. This great man is Honorable Suresh Prabhu. Sureshji, please.
Thank you, Puranji. Let me offer my best birthday wishes to my dear friend Partha and also congratulate him for this endeavor of bringing together so many people and making sure that we all work towards one common goal of making India, realize a true potential in terms of really going where we should be in the course of last 25 years. When 75 years ago we became independent, there are many more countries in the world, many more, who are still colonized. The colonization has led to so many challenges, and therefore our clarion call during freedom struggle was self-rule. The self-rule meant the self-rule was one of the reasons why all countries talked about, because during colonization, one single thing that the imperialist powers had done was to ensure that they suppressed the age-old ancient wisdom of many of these countries and put across only one single model for ruling vast mass of land. In India, they more or less obliterated the old systems of governance, education, and they thought that that's the only way they could rule. Because if there is no uniformity, there is no commonness, it was difficult for an imperial power to rule. But in the process, they destroyed something which was our own unique characteristic of a nation, of state, but more importantly, the independent thought. So that was one thing that happened all over the world. And 75 years ago, therefore, our big challenge was self-rule, means first bring out the best in ourselves and then rule according to that. Today, the world has changed completely. After 75 years, there is hardly any part of the world which can be said to be under the imperialist rule. Almost all countries in the world are so-called liberated and on their own. There may be different forms of government, different ideologies, but there is no so-called one imperial power, or as we had till a dominant thought that we had till 1991, which ruled USSR, or even now, pre-1991 and post-1991, the other predominant thought was that markets can rule. That again is under question. So today we are in a very interesting phase of life in which the world is free, but the human beings are free, so-called free. But have we realized the true potential of being a free mind? And that is because of so many challenges. So as Partha wants to argue in his book, next 25 years will be defining. There will no longer be the challenge of freeing ourselves from the foreign rule, or subsequently in the last 75 years to re-establish ourselves. And at that particular time, we had the advantage of saying, oh, we are free, but still some countries are under foreign dominion. It's no longer true now. So the world is completely different than what it was 75 years ago. But that does it mean that world is free of problems? The problems are probably completely different kind, of different dimensions, of different magnitude. And in that, we have to steer clear and realize what India should be in the next 25 years, as what Partha has mentioned, reset. And to reset, we have to think firstly, reset our own mind. When you try to bring in a new hardware, you are also buying, in a way, a new software in it. So the hardware can function as good as the software allows it to function. So the countries can progress to the extent to which the ideology that governs and motivates the countrymen to go will be doing. So in the next 25 years, we'll have to really work on both at the same time. Recreate a different kind of state. That's a hardware kind of thing, what I mean. In which the state will be able to reinvent in a way that allows the free enterprises, free ideas, free mind to flourish to an extent that to individual growth together will bring societal growth, and societies in turn will make India realize its true potential. That's one part. The second part would be, how do you allow now Indian ethos, Indian philosophy, India's ancient wisdom also to guide us for the future growth? Because we have seen that the economies which are really become the largest economy of the world, or if you take collectively a block of countries which can collectively called as European Union, they again will be a very large part of world's economy. But both of them may be questioning, where do you go from here? What is the final destination? Is just a perennial growth, continuously growing, creating more output? Is that the only goal? Or making sure that our own citizens, our own countrymen, our own people, they also become contented, happy. And if you want to bring that, then the so-called economic model alone will not help. What will be necessary, therefore, in that case, will be going back where our ancient wisdom taught us as to why are we all existing on this planet. What is the purpose of our own life? And once we know the purpose of one's own life, maybe together we can think about the collective ideas that we should bring together to make not just oneself happy, also make others happy, neighbors happy, and over a period of time, the world happy, as we've always believed the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And therefore, to make that, we'll have to also find out our roots. And when we do that, without realizing and without forgetting the challenges of tomorrow. As Partha says, the world is changing so fast and has changed already so much. And the technologies that are now changing at a rate at which one cannot even keep track of that. That means we have to also be attuned to it. So the challenge of tomorrow would be, don't forget our own roots, but also keep big conscious effort of remaining relevant to modern times. And that is what ultimately is going to be the mantra for India's growth for tomorrow. Because there are not many countries in the world who have such a long living civilization like India has got. And that long living civilization gives us the advantage of having the wisdom that my dear friend Puranji talked about. And that wisdom is something which cannot be bought in the marketplace. That wisdom can come only through living civilization like India. And that particular one we should not lose sight of, because that's a capital that not many countries have. We can always have financial capital, we can have human capital. Of course, there are countries which may have more natural capital. But what we have is the wisdom can bring together all what we don't have and really mold into a bigger idea of making India what it's capable of. So let me stop here only because I'm not able to speak well today I had a throat infection. In fact, I was asking Partha, but I then realized that it's his birthday. Let me wish him. And Puranji, who hosted us for a fantastic evening when we were in Boston recently. In fact, I went to 12, 13 states in about 16 days, had more than 90 programs, and I spoke about at least 12, 13 top Ivy League universities. But one of the highlights was the Boston program that Puranji and Partha had organized for us. And I would say that's where I took a pledge, the Boston pledge, that we'll all work together. And therefore, I am fulfilling my pledge by attending this program, despite the fact that I'm not keeping that well. But look forward to all of you doing better in the years to come. And only way when we can say that we are all doing well, only way we'll see, as Mahatma Gandhi had said, that a person living next door is sleeping happily and not going hungry. When we ensure that every person can say that my neighbor is not hungry and not unhappy, that's the only time we can say that we are really doing well. So thank you very much. All the best to you.